Welcome to our family's boat shop, everyone. My name is Joe Buskins. I am a second generation U.S. Coast Guard licensed professional boat builder. I also hold a 100-ton captain's license that I use during the warmer months here on the Alabama Gulf Coast to run our charter business and our custom built 29-footer that our family built here in this shop. So you guys seem to really enjoy the DIY type videos we've been doing lately. And obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail and the title, today we are gonna break some stuff. We are gonna test some Coosa versus Marine Plywood to failure. So I'm gonna break some stuff at my expense for you guys' entertainment and enjoyment. Now, I am a fan of both of these materials. We actually used the Coosa when we were building our 29-footer, the floors, the stringers, the transom, all of that. But I've also built a number of little stitching glue plywood skiffs, as has my father. He built a line of 37-footers that were fiberglass hulled boats, and they had marine fur plywood fully encapsulated in fiberglass on both sides. So both materials have a lot of merit and there's value in them. So I don't want to be like a fanboy of one or the other. They both have a proper place. So today we're going to actually be talking about some of the pros and cons, but just doing a straight up strength test. And so what we're doing, just some good old shop ingenuity, because again, you guys seem to enjoy our previous test where we took epoxy and polyester resin and over catalyzed it and just see what would happen to it. So here we go. That's a 25 pound. And what I've done is I ran 2 pieces of 3/4 inch material through my table saw and put exact measurements where you've got the exact same amount of overhang. We've got the screws running through at the same level where they are just flushed up. And we're gonna be adding some weight to these just nice and easy. And I just want to do like a static load test, like gradually add load to these things and see which piece is going to fail. And here we go with the first 25. This is going to be interesting to see. I've done a little bit of testing, and now we're going to start going brick for brick and just see what kind of results we can get. And I'm going to try to do this fairly fast and keep it interesting for you folks. And again, this may save you guys some time and money doing a similar test yourself. You guys really seem to be enjoying the DIY and the tests to failure. So feel free to comment on this kind of stuff. If you have some suggestions, I would love to hear. I'll try to do this in such a way that we get maximum. I apologize, folks. You can hear maybe the sirens in the background. I promise you, they're not coming after me. I obey all the rules. It just happens sometimes. This place used to be a very quiet little community, but our area is growing rapidly. All right, we are brick for brick for brick. That's already a pretty good amount there. Yes. Yes and yes. There we go, just nice and easy. We also put a little stop on here. Now, maybe we can get our cameraman, we've already got quite a bit of deflection there. The Coosa has definitely got more bend in it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give these just a second, and I kind of wanted to go over, I made a little list for you folks, because sometimes I just do this impromptu, just from knowledge in our head and just experiences, but occasionally you'll forget an item that I think is important. And so I wanted to go over the Coosa pros, because again, I'm a big fan of the Coosa board. One of the biggest is it doesn't rot and it doesn't soak water. So basically it's one of those materials you can put in your boat and have a lifetime product. And that's one of the bigger reasons I chose it when we were building our 29-footer over here, is that I plan to keep that boat for a very, very long time, and I didn't want to ever have any thoughts about its durability. One of the other big advantages is it's lighter in weight. Generally, Coosa says that they're like 30 to 40% on average lighter than most comparable marine plywoods, although that could vary a little bit. And then I think with the Coosa, what's nice is you got one company producing a product, so you got nice, consistent quality throughout. So unlike if you buy plywood in one area, it may vary from one company to another. Then you've got workability with the Coosa, which to me, it works a lot like plywood. And I've actually got some videos further back on the channel. It's titled Coosa 101, How to Work with Coosa. And you can run it, a skill saw over it, a jigsaw, table saw. It works very much like plywood. And then bondability or bonding ease. It will pretty much, it's designed to work with polyester resins, vinyl ester resins. You could use epoxy on it. Pretty much everything will stick to it, and it's kind of designed for that. Now, on the flip side, the Coosa con would probably be the cost of the Coosa. The Coosa is going to, on average, I would say it runs nearly double, maybe even, say for example, we used to get Marine Plywood around $100 a sheet, although I did price it the other day, it was $150. And it seems like Coosa tends to run around $300 a sheet. So it's 2 or 3 times more expensive. The other con would be availability. You may be able to source Marine Plywood easier than the Coosa. And the dust this stuff makes, even though it works like plywood, it makes dust that is itchy, scratchy. You want to wear a respirator, Tyvek suit. You would not want to roll around in any Coosa dust. Now, as far as plywood goes, the benefit to it is it's going to cost less than the Coosa. So on the flip side, very available. It's pleasant to work with, and it's familiar for most people. Most people have worked with plywood or lumber of that kind. The big thing negative for plywood would be the rot and the water damage. The weight is heavier, secondary bonding issues, and variable in quality. So you can kind of see there's pros and cons to each of them, and hopefully I didn't miss anything there. Now, you guys feel free to comment if I did miss something. So here we go back to adding bricks one at a time. Highly scientific here, folks. All right. We are definitely putting a little weight on there. You can see there's some pretty major deflection, and I'm going to try to match area for area. So that's going to be on the outer side of the you can see the Coosa is taking a surprising amount of bend there, but it's hanging in. Okay, so another one for the Marine Ply. And I'm trying to place these in here nice and easy without any kind of an abrupt, because what we plan is nice and easy. Now that brick went down in there a little further than this one, but we're brick for brick. We're going to do the static load test, and we've already tested some to failure, but in a minute we're also going to be taking some heavy weights and we're going to be dropping them from the same height, and we're going to be getting some impact strength. So it's kind of like as a fisherman, there are different knots. Some knots will hold a lot of load, or maybe more than others, but they're not as good when there's a shock applied to that line. And I think some of these materials, there may be pros and cons. Some may hold more weight initially, just gradually, but if you apply a shock to it, we may get a different result. So that's going to be, and I think that's the only fair way to do this, is to do multiple tests, different styles of load. All right, there we go. Brick for brick, we're going plywood first. Coosa is really starting to get some bend going on there, and I'm kind of running out of places for let's see here. There's a spot right there, and there a comparable spot. That's pretty impressive though, guys. That's a lot of weight for a relatively narrow piece of material, we're dealing with 3/4 Coosa, and we're only at, oh gosh, say 1 5/8 or so in the width. So not a terribly thick piece of material, and yet it is holding surprisingly well. Right there, honestly, it's holding more than I expected it to in this particular test. Yeah, but look at the deflection, and I'm hearing crackles and pops, and that is way more than you would typically ever expect to see on anything you are building. Yep, zoom in there, Logan. We're getting some creaking and groaning. Yep. Whoa, that was crazy. Exciting stuff. All right, so that's really interesting, because man, when I was doing the how to fiberglass over plywood, which we've got a cool sample piece. If you're new to the channel and haven't seen it, we built a really neat demo sample piece where we used marine plywood and fiberglassed over it, and a lot of folks felt like plywood had no place or it wasn't strong enough to be in a boat. But if you want to see that, you can back up in the channel. As previous to this one, we did an epoxy versus polyester. So anyway, some more interesting content. But right there, just on a static load, the Coosa, that was a pretty dramatic failure. Yeah, so those were equal numbers. Well, that is very exciting. So what we're going to do now, I feel pretty comfortable, and you guys, just so that everyone can see that that was a fair test. And again, folks, I love the Coosa. I love the Coosa material. I chose to spend the money and build my own personal charter boat out of the Coosa, and it's been really good to me. I really love the material, but I got some again, I got some hate on the plywood, man. A lot of folks are like, plywood is garbage, it's junk, there's no reason to put it in a boat. And I understand some folks may have been burnt before with the plywood. So what I want to do, though, I want you guys to see with your own eyes that these are equal brick for brick, so that, and we're going to do this without any editing, so it's you guys, this is real time. And if I make a little mistake or a flub, we're gonna just have to roll with it, because I want you guys to see that this is real world, just some good old shop experimentation. You guys, now's a good time to tell you folks how much I genuinely appreciate you taking the time to watch the channel. It's been growing a lot lately, and if you guys want to see me do more of this kind of stuff, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free to subscribe. It's also totally free to give us the thumbs up, the likes, the shares, the comments. All that stuff helps the algorithm. It tells YouTube that we're doing a good job, and then YouTube will hopefully recommend it to other folks. The more the channel grows, the more time I can take to do this, because doing the YouTube stuff is not a full-time occupation. I've got a family and responsibilities and businesses to run. So you guys, thank you so much. So here we go, back to laying things out. Again, in real time, no editing. That's that, and a 25-pound weight. So, kind of a surprising result maybe for some. The marine ply held more weight on a static load. Now we're going to jump right over to this scenario, which I think you guys will find interesting. I think what we should do is start with same dimensional material as what we were doing on the static load. It's the same exact width, cut from the same exact pieces. So try to keep it as consistent as possible. And what we've got, I've got a little piece of rubber here so it can, the weight can kind of bounce on the floor. Highly scientific. Got a 5-gallon acetone bucket, and we're gonna take one of our 25-pound weights, and we're gonna try to drop it from a consistent height. So I've got the weight resting right on the edge of the 5-gallon container. We'll try to keep that as close to the same height as possible. And 1, 2, 3. All right, we have failure on the first drop. That is a clean break through and through. Same deal. We're going right to the Coosa. And you guys may have some suggestions for other experiment ideas. And you guys have been commenting like crazy. I'm trying to respond to everybody as much as I can, but again, life is kind of busy, so y'all be patient with me. I'll try to get to everybody, but I do hear what you guys are saying. I personally read every comment you guys send our way, and I do appreciate you taking the time. Okie dokie, here we go. Same weight, same bucket. 1, 2, 3. Well, I heard a crack, but not a break. So she's bent but not broken. You can see there's a pretty good hairline on the top side. On the bottom, there's a subtle crack there. Let's you know what? Let's take this thing to failure. Let's go again. That's pretty interesting. So plywood seems to be the winner on the static load, but on the impact side of things, we may have some interesting results here. Now I'm just gonna put the load on the same side again. This is the same side we hit it initially. Same height, 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay, 2 hits, and it's definitely more damage, but it's taking more abuse. It's not a catastrophic failure. Let's do this one more time. And again, you guys, I know that my videos tend to run a little long, but we try to really fill them with good information. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay. So 3 consecutive blows, and it's cracked, but it hasn't completely failed. So interesting. You guys, are y'all as surprised as I am? Pretty neat results there. Yeah, that's pretty conclusive. To me, the Marine Ply on a static load in this application did a beautiful job. But then when we turned around for impact strength, it looks like the Coosa is going to be the winner in my opinion. So yeah, that's an awesome little test. I think we're good. I think it answered that. Now, you guys, again, there may be ways we can take these tests further, or you guys may have some questions or whatnot. And I do hear what you guys are saying, and I want you guys, again, to know how much I genuinely appreciate what you guys are doing as far as taking your time. And again, if you're new to the channel and you want to see how we built our 29-footer over here in the background, we've got well over 20 videos documenting that, as well as a number of fishing videos that we take when we're out on our charters. If you guys want to come down and fish with us, we'd be happy to take you guys out on our 29. So I think that's going to do it for this video. It's Captain Joe here with Island Marine Charters down in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Fish Bump TV here on YouTube. My fantastic cameraman there working hard here in the shop, making sure you guys get a good view of everything. And as always, we will catch you guys next time out.